Hello and welcome, heroes, to the Crit Academy. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Brandon.
I'm your co-host, Ian.
This podcast was created to provide you, our heroes, with new and reusable material for both players and DMs. Brandon, why don't you take that?
We hope to inspire you with creative content that you can bring with you on your next adventure.
Our show may not be suitable for young children.
Fuck.
But you know what? As Brandon has just proven, neither is our D&D games.
Oh, that's funny. Before we get started, this episode is brought to you by our generous Patreon donors. If you don't know, Patreon is a membership platform that allows creators to build relationships with their most loyal of fans, known as patrons. It's a tier-based reward system that allows you to support your favorite content creators, including us, we hope, for as little as $1 a month in exchange for special exclusive offering. In exchange for... Sorry, I got a hiccup coming, but it's like... In exchange... In exchange, you are offered exclusive content based on the tier that you select. We have a huge collection of rewards, custom tokens for your digital games, or print them off for your regular games. We have a monthly, hangout where we just sit and talk and chit chat about our favorite games or the happenings or whatever you want to discuss. We have a monthly D&D game. We have a private Discord channel for all of you that are current patrons that aren't aware that you have a Discord channel.
It exists.
There's a link that gets sent to you in your email, so check it. I found out one of our patrons didn't know it existed, so there's that.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of good stuff, including, Brandon does artwork for a patron every single month, and the new one looks awesome.
Yeah, it's not finished yet, but it'll look better.
Who was the winner for that?
It was... Hang on. I forgot his
Wow,
name.
way to let him down, man.
He's definitely a patron.
Well, yeah.
You should lower them into the ground when they die.
So you can let him down one more time.
Fuck you guys. God damn it.
Did you figure it out? It's John, right?
Yeah, Jonathan.
You don't gotta say his last name. But he did this really awesome art piece of John. That John sent him a picture of himself dressed up as like a wizard, and he's got him like throwing dice over the screen as the DM. It looks really baller. If you don't know, if you're not a patron or you are a patron and you really want a custom piece of art, Brandon does commission. His full body art is $20, or shoulder line art for $8. So his art's really cool and it's very unique, so definitely check it out. You can find it out on our Facebook page. That being said, thank you for joining us today here at Crit Academy Studios, where everything's made up and your rolls don't
Matter.
Shut up. Where everything's made up and your rolls don't matter.
That's right. Your rolls are like a D&D game with really crappy pacing. Yeah.
Yeah, just like that.
Uh-huh.
Poor pacing really is a crappy experience. Hey, Sam. Welcome, Sam. You the man.
Mutter.
Mutter? What's the motto with you?
Mutter. That's mother in German.
Is it? Sam, are you German?
That's not how you spell it, but...
Malta.
Anyways, so... we got a really great show for you today. Before we start the show off, we like to start off on a really high note by giving away awesome items, compliments of... What?
We're going to do a high note. Just don't worry about it.
We like to start off every episode on a high note.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
We have special gifts to give away. Compliments of Goblin Stone. Brandon, who's our winner today?
I don't know if I should say it because that's an email.
Oh, I probably should delete the last part of that. Yeah, they're all emails. I just delete the part, and hopefully nobody saw that.
Well, then,
He's going to get a random email from a different patron saying, congratulations, fuckwad.
our winner today is Brian Lavangi.
When it comes crashing down and it hurts inside.
That's no worse than the usual one.
Oh, God. So congratulations, Brian. If you enjoy the adventure, please let Goblinstone know. Leave him a review. Tell him what you like, what you didn't like, and let him know Crit Academy sent you. So now that we're off to a high note, we have a really... You know, if you guys would look at this stuff in advance, you could tell me that there's no goddamn let's talk about blank segment.
You know,
There's
I
no
read
let's
this
talk
ahead of
about
time, and
Didn't notice.
yeah.
Oh my god. I'm such a failure.
Either that or Sim just didn't put it in there yet.
No, which does happen sometimes. But no, I didn't notice. Luckily, I've got...
I got a good question. Are dice really cursed?
Yes. Yes, they are.
So let me... I've got actually... Unless one of our... Do you guys have a question you'd like us to ask? Come on, do
things
something.
Technically, if you buy dice that are marbled in color made of plastic, chances are pretty good that they are unbalanced because the plastics that are swirled within are not weighed properly. Best thing you could do is buy maybe metal dice or stone. Stone dice can work too because they're evenly balanced for the most part.
Yes, good, great. Keep up the distraction.
And there's bone. you watch,
What's it like motorboating a Muppet?
you watched Avenue Q, didn't you?
I did watch Avenue Q.
God, I want to see that.
I heard it's pretty good. I actually heard the song Schadenfreude for a class one time.
Shot him before he
Well, I play World of Warcraft. You ever play World of Warcraft at all?
No.
Oh, dude, you're killing me. Never?
What?
That 2-hour session that one time at a friend's house.
Oh my god.
Wow,
dude.
this is lame.
Get it? Wow. Wow, this is lame. Wow,
God.
that's funny. No, dude, yeah. So, yeah. So I went and seen Avenue Q, and there's a slutty blonde puppet, and I had front row seats, and she came down there singing her sexy song, tossing her hair back.
I think you see where that's going.
Actually, I'm gonna save that for In the Realm, so we'll finish that.
I saw a really good one in Vegas.
Oh, hey Sam, thank you.
Oh, he's got
It's
one?
worth
Yeah.
Postponing a session if you know a player who is likely to have key roleplay. Next session is going to occur.
Okay, now say that nice and loud so everyone can hear you.
Do you think it
Not
is
that fucking loud, asshole. This question comes to us from Sam, our patron Sam.
Do you think it is worth postponing a session if you know a player who is likely to have a key roleplay next session is going to occur?
When you say postpone a session, as in like hours, days, weeks?
No, he's not allowed to. Yeah, I was wondering why that didn't sound right.
I guess it depends. I mean, is there a few minutes late? Sure, why not? A couple hours? All right. If it's like they can't make it that session, I could see why you want to either A, delay for a week, or B, just like a side adventure, or C, come up with something else.
I think it depends too, because if his roleplay is really important in the beginning, just get his ass on the phone and put him on speaker.
That's actually a good. That's a possibility if they can't make it. Phones now have like Discord and stuff and Skype, and you could have them Skype in. But personally, what I would do is I would focus on, okay, this is super critical to the story. You mentioned a side quest. I would say, okay, guys, let's take, if you know in advance, hey, this even makes it even better, but I would read some of the players' backstory and find a way to do something special with them tied into the story. So let's say, my game is Matt, Ian, and Brandon, and Brandon is super critical but never shows up. I can say, okay, well, I know that Ian's character used to be a sailor, and he had this really bad experience, but his backstory leaves that open to interpretation. I might start off with a memory, have them both take whatever level characters, his would be his same character back to a previous level or whatever, and just run a game off of that so that I could, since I can't focus on this other player, I'm going to try to put my focus on the two that are here. And that can create a simple one-shot based off of just a small segment of that player's background.
Oh, that reminds me of the time when my fellow crewmates betrayed me, Captain.
We'll go back to where your players didn't know about the red coat captain.
Guy comes in the next week and all of his shit's gone. It's like, what the hell did you guys do to me?
Well, we need a sacrifice to the dragon god, so... and you guys was arguing against it because you weren't here.
Sam says side quests are his something.
Or his default.
are your default. Yeah. So if side quests are your thing, I would always try to focus it more on the players that show up, because it sounds like that person's going to have a big role. So this would be a good opportunity to kind of spread that kind of personal love to one of the other characters, or both of them, especially if they happen to be people who that have a long time relationship. Maybe you can say, okay, remember when you guys were off doing this in your own time? That we're going to do that. We're going to build that scene.
And also, let's admit it too. Sometimes it's kind of a good change of pace every now and then to have like a break from the game. Be it like side quest, just to take a break, watch a movie as a group, play some video games as a group, board games.
Bust out a different game too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of different options. Like for me personally, though, I've been known to we've had where people didn't show up, and so we just run a one shot. Sometimes that's what you do.
Mother crackers.
If you can have have the players build characters in advance in case something like that happens, all the better. And just we've talked about on the show having an oh shit pile. So if you don't want to continue the story specifically, you can say, okay, character class from a hat. Okay, your Billy is a mage this time, and Sam is a fighter, and that's we're gonna run a one shot.
Don't you ever call me Little Billy?
It's not racist if you're making fun of a white guy.
Oh, Ed makes a really great point there. Great point there, Tater. It says it's also a good time to level players up if they are uneven levels and because of life things. I know this guy right here, this Big B here. He is terrible at leveling up characters because he'll leave. Yeah, we're gonna level up and come back. Shit, I forgot. You know.
Wow.
Fuck you.
Am I wrong?
No.
Just tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Okay.
Well, you did tell you were wrong. So.
Just
Is
sat
that
there
fact,
and
though?
Lied straight to his face.
That's okay. Our president does it.
Every president's done that.
Okay. So anyway,
I did not get a blowjob from that woman. Winkety wink, wink, wink. She's under the desk right now.
Sam says playtest some of Critical Academy. That's weird.
But you have some great gaming.
Who the hell is Critical Academy? Who are those bastards? We're going to have to kick her in the ass for taking her name. Yeah, so honestly, those are some of the things that we would do. Goddamn Windows. Stupid update messed everything up.
It really did.
So, yeah, when it comes to decide if a player has a key role, is it worth postponing? I would say probably. But you don't have to cancel the game for it. You can find other things to do. Even if it's, like Ian said, just hanging out. Watch Thor Ragnarok and find out if you can believe that. I don't want to. I almost gave a spoiler to Infinity Wars.
I finally saw that.
Did you?
Yeah, it was a good movie.
Yeah. Snap. Somebody.
Oh, snap!
Yeah. Off tangent, real quick. I was reading a post and the guy says, I was walking by some kids today and I heard, "Your mama's so fat, Thanos had to snap twice." Oh God.
Damn it. Okay, there we go.
Oh, why did anybody tell me we forgot in the realm? We got so sidetracked by not having a question.
Yeah, so we go, hey, Camden, we're a little
Fix our
ahead
shit
of ourselves right now, so we're going to go back to In the Realm.
Okay, so.
And then Audible.
Back it up.
I got it.
And poor Camden.
So we have a really great show for you today. We're going to be discussing game pacing. And I'm really happy about that because that's a challenge I think every DM runs into no matter what type of DM you are. But before, and of course we have our honor tips and tricks, but before all that we have In the Realm. Ian, what's going on in your realm?
Well, quite a bit. But the only one big one, though, is due to a injury a coworker had, he therefore can't shoot a camera. So they kind of played some musical chairs review with all the shifts with the photogs. So I'm now, instead of working from midnight to 9, they now have me working 5 a.m. to 2 p.m. And my body hates me.
Well, we love you. So our love will outweigh the hate.
Well,
love will always win in the end.
Well, I'll give you a small example.
What is this, Sailor Moon?
Well, short version, I walked through the newsroom, and one of the reporters was like, "Wow, Ian, I'm not used to seeing you in the newsroom at this time of day at all." Yeah, I'm not used to being awake at this time.
Walking around like a zombie.
Pretty much.
Yeah, I've been through the shift change, and I think anybody that works and has done that knows it can suck.
It's a temporary change.
But that makes it worse.
Yeah. In theory, for about a month, but we'll see how all that goes.
Yeah.
So, Brandon.
Hello.
What's going on in your realms?
Let's see. I found a new job.
Yahoo!
I'm still sorry my wife fired you.
Eh. Whatever. Anyways. No, I still love her. I love you guys.
Me
You're
too.
good. Yeah, I got a new job. It starts the 19th
Next week.
is the earliest. June
Yeah.
19th.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it might be a little later than that. But they build buses, like transit buses for airports and such. And they're giving me a tour through the warehouse. It's like, okay, so this bus, its cabin is a little bit taller than usual. That's because they're gonna put strobes over here, and it's gonna have a surround sound system. I'm like, hey, whoa, whoa, you build party buses? And he goes, yeah, we do. It's like,
Bang
that's
bus,
awesome.
baby.
Can we
So-
take it for a test drive?
They're doing that. They asked me all my stuff, and I'm really excited too because I have 50 welders on site.
Oh.
And if you're willing to learn, they'll teach you.
Welding is a
Ooh.
powerful tool, so
So-
please learn that so
yeah,
I can.
that's what I'm planning.
You
to
get
do.
to mold metal with fire.
Well,
be
congratulations! I'm really happy to. I'm happy for you.
So they're building from the ground up.
All right, Justin.
Problem. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
The problem is that they have a buffer of these buses that don't have the bus part yet,
Mm-hmm.
because you remember in the news there was
A steel turf?
there was a factory that caught on fire.
Oh.
Meridian.
Who cares where? Just what's the
I
point?
don't know. It's a Ford factory, and all the buses that they get come from that factory. So they're
All the parts.
Okay.
Yeah,
They can't
But-
need that.
that's why they're bringing on so many people. And
Right.
I just had to tell them that I was a submarine mechanic, and they're like, okay, go sign this shit. Just come join us.
That's awesome.
There's that. After this stream, if you stay around, I'm going to be streaming on my own the tokens that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm going to be right here in this cave because it has decent internet.
I think he means the ones that probably should. Those are for last month, right?
I'm going to snap your nipples off.
So the ones that should already been done.
And
Don't worry, baby
and
bird.
I've picked out the next commission winner for this month.
Oh, well, can you announce that right now?
Yes, because he's here.
Oh, he is.
Yeah,
Who is the lucky winner? Is it me? Because I really would love a commission.
you're not a patron.
I'm like the patron. I'm
No.
your fans.
This month's winner is Sam.
Sam. Woo!
You hear that, Sam? You're the winner.
Sam gets a free commission for this month.
Congratulations, Sam.
So if you stick around, I might end up. If you know what you want, I could probably start on that tonight.
There you go. I like that. Very cool.
But I'm gonna need his help setting up the stream because YouTube fucking hates me for some reason,
Yeah.
and it only ever records.
Oh yeah, ask the guy that can't start a stream on time.
Yeah, but your streams actually work.
Barely.
I had to go to Twitch last night, and even then it didn't work very well.
I think it was your tablet.
Yeah, it's a piece of shit. So, Justin, what's happening in your realm?
I'm glad you asked. I went to. My wife loves theater, so we went to a theater show. We went and seen Avenue Q. Now, this isn't the first adult-oriented puppet show that I've been to, which is even more disturbing. I don't remember the other one. Did you remember the other one we all went to? We went to it, and then we had you guys go to it. Do you remember what it's called?
From Hand to God.
From Hand to God. Yeah, that just... So anyways, so without any context at all, I just posted in our Discord that... So, I motorboated a Muppet today. I think it was like a slutty Muppet or something.
Yep.
Yeah, I had front row seat. She comes down there with her flowing blonde hair, her tight, shiny red dress, and gets all up on me. So I just go. The guy next to me is like, "Are you part of the show?" No, I'm not.
I am now.
Oh, damn it, Sam.
Sam wasn't even here listening.
Your fucking phone.
You'll have to go back and listen to it, Sam. But yeah, so I.
Oh, look at that. He does have something in mind.
Good.
Because I was saying I'm streaming after the show.
Well, he can go. He can play rewind. All right.
You can pay me
money. We have a show to do. We
We
can't
do.
start on time, so we got to stay on track.
Okay, so that's in your realm.
So yeah, so I went and seen that. I cannot recommend that enough. If you've got a really good sense of humor and don't mind watching Muppets have sex on stage, it's hilarious.
So, new shift, new job. More about the puppet. Moving on.
If you don't know who Avenue Q is, I'm sure you've heard the song "The Internet Is for Porn."
Yep.
They're the guys that made it.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I went there. I was like, Kate Monster, that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Chucky, that sounds familiar. And then they started singing the song, and I was just like, that's awesome. So, so now that we, what's that?
I'll stay in a couple of weeks when it comes out. So, other than that, what other realms can you visit?
No, that's not how it goes.
Yes,
Don't
that's how it
fuck
goes.
up my shit.
You do it.
No, that's not how it goes. If you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. It says, Justin, if there's other, you'd like to visit other realms, how can they do that? Or if you'd like to visit other realms, how can you do that, Justin? Go ahead.
Hey, Justin, if you'd like to visit other realms, how could you do that? Other than portals.
Well, you can head on over to critacademy.com damn it. See, I don't usually do this part. You can head on over to critacademy.com. We have a link there to Audible Trial. Ian, if they'd like to visit other realms, how can they do it?
I am glad you asked. You can go either through our link from our website, Crit Academy, or you can type in audibletrial.com/Crit Academy, where you can get a free audiobook download and a 30-day free trial.
That's a very not good thing for us.
We need to step up our game. He says you can never stay on track, so being late is consistent with Crit Academy. That's our reputation, guys.
That's it.
Maybe we just start on time.
No. The Sapphire, Ruby, or Emerald tier. We're here on time.
That should be our next goal.
$50 goal. $50.
I'm making no promises to start on time because there's a lot of shit that just always interrupts our start time.
So with that, we knocked out In the Realm sponsor and talk about blank completely out of order. And now on to our main topic.
Camden, thank you for the magic you're about to work. So we got a great topic today. This actually was brought up by a listener some time ago. I could not find the original posting of who asked about it, but they said, hey, I have trouble keeping pacing in my game so that it's interesting. Is there anything that you can recommend?
Pacing in D&D games, where 1 minute combat takes 1 hour and 1 hour journey takes 1 minute.
Hey, listen, so Sam says, I love how Justin's like, here's how you say it, and then proceeds to slaughter it. Yeah, whatever, dude. That's because that's not normally my jams. And it's the show notes have been stripped down so bare.
I like strawberry.
Oh, shut up. All right.
Ice cream and gumdrops in here.
As we all know, pacing is really the rhythm of action. God damn it, shut up, motherfuckers.
This pacing sucks.
The irony of that. Pacing is the rhythm of action and the story progression that unfolds in encounters and over the course of a session. You can keep tension and focus by having really great pacing in your encounters, right? If it starts to get slow or bogged down, people start to nod off, get tired, get distracted by their phones. What?
You.
Squirrel.
Get distracted by phones and other things kind of going on. So having being able to keep that focus and that pacing is super critical. Now, in my research, this is my research. This is not the end all be all, but generally speaking, there are 3 different pacing models that I could find.
Yes, and those 3 types are balanced, spike, and the next and last one is escalation.
Minus 10 cool points for you.
I like the spike.
Yes.
That was funny. Spike!
Yeah, but I don't know if it was so loud. I see where it was loud.
It worked.
Generally speaking, there are 3 different pacing models that I could find: balance, spike, and escalation, right? We will be discussing how you can use these models to plan out your encounters in your gaming sessions, right? God damn it, Ed. So Sam says, and be ready to throw out the schedule and wing it because it will happen. And Ed says, or like tonight's show notes, not completed before starting. Thanks, buddy.
Hey, 90% of it's there.
So players have many choices. This often means that they can take your quest in a different sequence of events than you intended, which happens to all of us, right? We've all run games like that, right?
Oh, yeah.
So, in spite of following these templates, remember to be flexible and be ready to modify your encounters on the fly to fit the pacing model that you intended. Just because they change something in your plan doesn't mean the pacing has to change. For example, moving monsters from one planned encounter to another one could be an easy way to change up the pacing a little bit. Jeez. So the first one we're going to talk about is balanced pacing. Brandon, what do you think balanced pacing is?
I think it's to aim for a nice balance of combat, roleplay, and storytelling.
Okay, trying to find a nice
so that it's right there.
Kind of a medium. Like if you were to split it into thirds, it would be 30% of the game's combat, 30% is roleplay, and then 30% is the DM talking.
Finding harmony.
Actually, 33.3 repeating.
Oh my God! I fucking hate you all. You have to have that extra small percent in there for the oh shit factor.
Yep. The oh shit factor.
Yeah. Right. The oh shit factor is always going to be in there. You're right.
The other 10%, the fuck me part.
In my experiences, this is probably the most common, right? Where you might have a social encounter followed by a combat encounter, followed by a puzzle, followed by another combat, and it kind of alternates, right? It alternates between fast and furious moments and then slower, calmer periods. And then, for instance, going from an easy combat encounter to a harder combat encounter. One is going from an easy story-driven encounter, like talking to NPCs, to then a combat encounter.
The first was the appetizer.
This also can be a change between dramatic moments in the story, like you just found out that the princess has been kidnapped. All right, let's all go shopping. So you got this really big moment of intensity that built up to that moment, and then following it up by something that's not as intense, right? Yep. Like travel or shopping or something along those lines.
The apocalypse can wait another 30 hours.
That's not bad. Straightforward dungeons, dungeon adventures. I think I already mentioned that. Yeah, so straightforward dungeon adventures often follow this sort of model. They are slow, calm periods for exploration, investigation, puzzles, and then you'll get a combat encounter, and then you'll do more exploration, puzzle encounters, combat encounter, and it kind of follows this trend, this give and take back and forth every time you're kind of going through it, right?
According to this Elvish script, say friend and enter. Wonder what that means.
No, I don't have no friends. Ian, when do you think this model works best?
I think it's a generally safe way to go, and I could definitely see you planning most sessions this way, generally speaking, because there's obviously, like it says, there's a good balance to it, so there's kind of like a little bit of everything. Not too much, not too little.
Yeah, and to kind of go with that, we often break our games apart by sessions or adventuring days. A good example of kind of following this and making this effective, you can have the difficult encounter or the dramatic turning point that grabs your player's attention at the onset or the end with a cliffhanger, leaving them wanting more. So you...
Cliff is falling off the cliff.
What?
It's a literal cliffhanger joke.
That's a terrible cliffhanger joke.
That's the joke.
So anyways, oftentimes it ends on either the adventure is completely done and you're good to go. I would say would probably be the bigger one, or there's a cliffhanger at the end that pushes into the next adventure, and it's all kind of just chill.
On the next episode of Dragon Ball Z,
Goku moves an arm.
Oftentimes, so in this sort of encounter, a party who likes to burn all the resources early on can often disrupt the pacing of this type of game as well. You've got the big wizard that's got 4 slots and they use it in the first encounter. That can create a slower pace with additional combat encounters moving forward. So as a DM, if you're running this sort of encounter and that does happen, you may have to shift the number of quote unquote
difficulties.
Yes, of the combat. Yes, the difficulties of the combat encounters around, which means pulling and pushing monsters around. If you know you've got a player who likes to burn the resources earlier, you can shove some of the first encounter NPCs back into the next encounter if you wanted. So that way they have no reason to burn them early on. That's it. That's if you're the type of DM that cares about supporting the resource management. I don't. You blow all your spells on the goblins and you ain't got nothing for the Goblin Lord, well, you're shit out of luck. But sorry, I was reading something and it doesn't make sense to my head and I don't know why I put it there.
I think you just answered your own question.
Yeah. So, a balanced pacing is a very versatile model. It allows for a variety of different encounter types, including combat, exploration, investigation, puzzles, and NPC interaction. And finding a nice distribution of all those really is what sets that particular type of pace. That's the more standard and traditional flow. Really, really not a surprise.
Spike!
Nice.
Sam says that is my group, shopping all the time.
Does this
Or a dead party.
sword go with my cape?
Well, your cape's red. We can make it go that way.
So that pretty much is it for balance pacing. I think everyone has an idea what balance pacing is. There's no surprise there. That's personally not my style. And I'll tell you which one I prefer personally when we get to it. The next up is the spike pacing. Spike pacing often is a single encounter so difficult that the PCs need to use every single resource available, as well as a solid tactics to overcome the challenge.
Looking for Marvin! It's only be sure!
Often the PCs will only face one such encounter in the session or the adventuring day in this model. So this often is the work up to is the big boss fight, right? You guys ended the session on your balanced cliffhanger, right? You've ended your session. You've got one encounter. You have to, as the DM, build this entire session around a single encounter. Now, depending on how you do combat, the combat could last the entire session. I'm not too gung-ho about those things, but
I love those sessions.
I know you do. What about you,
I
Brandon?
do like telling a story.
What do you think about that sort of session? Where it's just one battle the entire session.
I don't know. Battling can get really tedious and boring after doing it for so long.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. So with something like this, and we actually talk about that, keep in mind that if you're going to plan on being only one encounter, ensure that there's at least some sort of minor build-up, or at the end, there's a cleanup session, right, where...
Well, it turns out when you destroy half a village in combat, there's a lot of paperwork.
make sure there's a lot of aftermath of the encounter, right? That serves for the falling of the action. So, for instance, if your big boss fight, you're going to have a big boss fight, the village is going to be under siege, and the players' sole goal is to fight this one big bad, right? While the guards are taking out all his minions around him, right? So they finally do fight the big bad. Their resources are depleted. They can help deal with some of the minions.
Banana!
Can help deal with some of the minions and, help take care of the injured after the fact. This is one big encounter. You want to make it challenging. You want to make it hard. You want to burn. You want them to use every resource they got. You want them to come out hurting and feeling the pain, but also in the same token be to the point where they have to press forward and still help the town. Or the deal with the aftermath.
Excuse me, adventurer. Can you please help my husband here? He's not looking very well. I don't think that bone's supposed to be sticking out like that.
I know that many players love the rush and excitement of a single battle, especially when everything is on the line, because nobody wants to die. Nobody wants their character to die.
No, but there's a bit of a tension that can come with that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Sir, we are surrounded on all sides by the enemy. Excellent. That means we can fire in all directions.
Yeah, it gives them that sense of panic when they have to use every resource.
Right, and when you're... Go ahead.
Yeah, when that wizard uses that last slot, what's he going to do?
His butthole's going to pucker up. He has to get creative. Well, and with something like this, because it requires so much strain on the players that you can't generally afford to have more than one encounter if you want something run like that. Because if you do, the seemingly weak goblins now become a terrible threat and become, potentially a deadly encounter after something like this.
Yeah, when the DM starts playing music in the background that's along the lines of like foreboding Latin choir, you know you're in trouble.
Spike pacing does work best when there is a dedicated build-up to the event. If you can manage to foreshadow events to come in a dramatic way that can build up and lead to an amazing release. Right? So, for instance,
It's the average format of story writing.
what's that?
It's the average format of story writing. Is having the intro, the build up, the climax, and then there's the what's that called? The prologue? No, that's the beginning. yeah. They have the end there. Yeah. I forgot what it's called.
Every writer that
Climax.
listened to this, he's talking about the after the fact.
Oh, the
Is it the epilogue?
no,
Oh.
no, it's on the tip of my tongue.
I'm
Gah!
pretty sure we can tell we're all not professional writers.
Denouement. There we go.
The what?
Denouement.
Okay, that's whatever. But anyways, with something like this, this is actually, like I said, is really great for boss fights, but also for things that are not like the traditional building up as far as the boss fight. For instance, let's say your characters are marching through a conclusion. Thank you, Sam. We're a bunch of dumb motherfuckers. You know that, guys?
I stand by denouement.
I mentioned if you can manage to foreshadow events to come in a dramatic way, you can lead up to a great release.
It doesn't even have to be combat. It could be like when the players do their murder hopings on trial.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah.
In this way, for instance, if you're traveling through like a forest or something, you might mention that in the mud puddles they see rings vibrating in and out. A subtle thing like that as they're trekking through, and then turns out a T-Rex shows up.
what it is, yeah. Those are impact tremors. I'm slightly alarmed here.
Clever
You got to
girl.
talk a little louder when you're look at your wavelength there. It's really low.
Well, goddamn.
Clever
That's why it's up there so you can see it. Clever girl, really.
Clever girl.
Girl.
So
Nom nom nom.
the build up does become important, but not as much as our next template or whatever. Our next, what did I call it? I forgot
pacing.
what I call it. Yeah, our next template for pacing. With something like this, it's important to increase the player's fears, uncertainty, and tension with clues about the opponents that they face. Because once again, you're going to build up to that one big encounter. So being able to give little hints to it, like whether it's, I think I might actually. Okay. Yeah. So if you increase the player's fears, uncertainty, and tension, it can really make that have that much more of a jarring impact. If the players are constantly hearing how strong, down the big God,
I can't do it. The sound.
if the characters constantly hear from all the NPCs that they've been fighting or monsters that they've been fighting that this guy is big and strong and is dangerous, and he has a very penchant for biting off fingers, stuff like that can add to the build-up without having a lot of story in it.
The cave is guarded by a monster with huge teeth.
While you are sitting there slashing at these goblins that you are laying waste to, out of your peripheral vision you see a cow flying through the air as it shatters through the church roof, and you wonder what threw it.
See, that's a good one. It doesn't take much to show that whatever's coming is big and bad and can throw a cow. Sam says,
You arrive into the middle of the forest to meet up with the party that you were meant to find, only to find that all their heads are impaled on spikes.
see, that's good. I love that. Was really good. I like that.
It was horrible.
10. It was fine. Yeah, you're right. That is bad. So Sam says, do you recommend strategy time for spike pacing, or is it
Gandalf and the Predator sound effect.
or is it okay to dump it on the party? I realize it can be situation specific. So the way I see it,
You guys are walking through the woods. Here you go.
it depends on how much time you want your spike event to take over. Let's say I run a 3-hour session, right? I expect the combat to take 2 hours, right? So the build-up and the strategy could be just an hour before that, right? Now, once again, it's a spike event, so you don't want to spend too much time because that gets into escalation. But for the spike event, if you want to give them time to strategy and give them a little bit of time to make those plans, there's nothing wrong with that, especially if the big spike event is they have to defend a keep from an onslaught. You know, giving them time to make those plans and stuff builds up on that one moment before it occurs.
You feel like you're being watched.
I'm always being watched. Uh-oh, what'd I do? Sorry.
We are
That
streaming.
makes you think of, what was it, the first Lord of the Rings? When they're doing the attack on Helm's Deep.
That's the second one.
Was that the second one?
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's sitting there saying, is this all Mordor has to offer? And then the wall explodes and he goes, fuck!
Yeah, Ed actually says spiking can also be as a hip pocket. God, that really shows how old you are. What even does that mean?
You're a dick.
Shoot from the hip.
Oh, are you sure?
No.
So Tate says spiking can be used as a hip pocket lift to the game as well. Just a small, quick combat from the scouts of the big baddie. And sometimes that's what it is too. If you've had a bunch of role play and a bunch of other stuff and you haven't had a combat, having a good spike encounter tossed into it, like the T-Rex showing up, is pretty cool. he says it's okay. I blast just as hard. I forgot where I was going. Also, for something like this, it's really important to make sure to really give the spike its importance. Make sure that all the players are refreshed, that they have full access to all the resources, as well as maybe some additional consumables, as well as maybe even a boon from like a priestess or something.
Do we just jump back from escalation back to spike?
No,
Okay.
they're quite different, and you'll find out in a second.
Just checking.
And of course, afterwards, you want to let them spend the conclusion mulling over the consequences of this big battle or this big spike event, either in a little bit of NPC interaction or a little bit of exploration. Okay. I got you. Yeah, okay. Ed says that means, what do you call it, hip pocket? In the hip
Back pocket.
yeah, well, that's what it's supposed to be, but that makes more sense.
Yeah.
He says in the hip pocket was something that you keep on the side and you can run if needed. We call that the oh shit pile, I think. That's what I do. Maybe that's why I didn't get it. So yeah, for these you really want that big spike, that big interaction, and then it's over. There's a build up and there's a climax and it's gone, but it's generally just often one combat or one big puzzle or one big something. Which separates it quite a separation between that and balanced, right? Balanced, you've got several weaker encounters that ends in a bit bigger boss fight. But when you set that boss fight as the DM, you have to include the fact that they've probably consumed a lot of resources. So you can throw something harder in a spike event than you probably could in a more balanced setting, right?
Oh my gosh. I'm like, what are some fun ways we could do the escalation to make it better? But then I briefly in my head pictured like a psychotic child singing nursery rhymes at night inside a haunted mansion.
That's hot.
And you don't see them.
That's creepy.
Exactly.
So now that kind of leads into our third and our final template, which is escalation pacing. And in this model, you put the players on a steady upward ramp of increasingly difficult challenges until they reach the top at a dramatic climax, feature a major villain, world-shattering revelations, or maybe even both. What sets this apart is the goal is a little bit differently. You are gradually depleting the character's resources so that when they reach the climax, they've exhausted themselves almost completely and they face serious trouble as they're burnt out.
Joke's on you. I'm playing a champion fighter.
You don't get exhausted.
I don't run out of crap.
And that's where a class like this will shine, right?
Yeah.
Where, in a balanced, a wizard can make the choices to choose not to expend the resources. But when you as the DM are actively following an escalation pacing and you're trying to consume everyone's major resources, and don't get me wrong, fighters have resources too. They're called hit die, right? You take too many hits, you go into a final battle, you have almost no health left starting the battle because you've consumed them all early on. The wizard has no spell slots. You know,
Nom nom nom.
and maybe there's other effects. Maybe there's poison effects. Maybe there's other conditions that have really sapped it. So what would otherwise be a trivial encounter is now exceedingly difficult or challenging to overcome.
No, they do not, Sam.
Yeah, so Sam says that the ranger, the rogue, the barbarian, they don't run out easy. Yeah, you're right. They don't have spell slots, but they have hit
warlock.
dice. They have exhaustion levels. They can be susceptible to poisons and curses.
And they made exhaustion nasty. in
So
this
that regardless of the class, they are mortal.
Yes,
So-
and so when you're doing so, if at level 5 they've got 5 hit die, so force them to use those hit die, and to the point where when they're ready to go up against the big bad, even if they get a short rest, they still can't recover too much of their power. They've lost their action surge. They've lost their stone's endurance if they're inclined. Consuming those. That's the point of the escalation model, is to put them through the ringer so that when they finally get to this big bad mother effer, who isn't really probably not even that big bad, he just seems so strong because they're so worn out.
Oh, hello.
And that could be the plan of the enemy, right? That totally could be the plan of the enemy. The enemy is a genius, warlock or a wizard or a rogue, somebody with a high intelligence that's all about, okay, well, I can take out, I've never lost a fight. Well, that's because I pay these other people to do all this other stuff to consume your strength and sap it. So by the time you get to me, you're worn out. Can anybody think of a good example in a movie that's happened?
Igor, throw the switch.
I'm trying to think of a good one. Was it Gladiator? It's a really old movie, Gladiator, where he was supposed to challenge like Caesar or something, and somebody stabbed him
Yep.
before he was fighting Caesar.
Caesar stabbed him.
Caesar stabbed him, so he was weak. That's the kind of thing you want in escalation, because every battle the players want to stop and rest, but you have to push them.
The 300's a good example.
Yes, that's
Like
amazing.
at the
example.
very end when Leonidas looks like he's going to give up and he just drops his shield. And then the guy explains like, oh, he dropped his shield because it was weighing him down and it was cutting off his accuracy from his spear. And everyone was tired. And
Yeah.
that's what I think of when I'm thinking about this.
Yeah, so it makes in a scenario like that, you wonder if he was in his top shape, would the outcome have been the same?
Probably not.
And that's what you want to do when you want to go with an escalation style pacing. You want to be able to make them wonder, oh crap, we lost. I know I could have taken this guy if I would have just been refreshed.
I love how the Spartans were excellent at witty comebacks, even in real life.
What? I'm sorry. You were talking and I totally did not hear what you said. I'm sorry. I was what?
You said 300, just being like, I love how even in real life, Spartans were historically great for their witty comebacks.
Yeah.
Like quick anecdote, when Philip of Macedon was conquering Greece,
Mm-hmm.
and they came to Sparta, he sent his message saying, "If my men conquer your city, you shall become our slaves." Sparta's only sent back one word in reply, "If."
That's funny.
And then they marched around Sparta.
Tate says, especially if there are a lot of zombies pouring out before you get to the big bad. So that's another great example, is waves and waves and waves of enemies. The enemies themselves may not be that strong, but if your players are fighting for hours and hours and hours, they're with small breaks in between to spend their hit dice, and then the big bad finally shows up, and turns out that he's now stronger than the rest of them, except for he's fully revitalized and has every resource at his disposal.
Like if we have to fight China.
Oh God!
We're so screwed if that happens.
Quick! Their miniguns out! Charge again! I'm wondering if we
They
should
have a
open
bunch of
that door.
killbots.
Xenomorphs are a good example of that too.
Yeah. Well, depends on which movie.
Can you elaborate?
Statistically, that a xenomorph is easy to kill, but what makes them so fearsome is their numbers and the fact that they have a hive,
And their acid blood.
and that's what makes them so dangerous. Is because there's so many of them.
Right. So for escalation, remember, because it relies on depleting resources, there's a lot of things you can do aside just from combat. One of my favorite things, and I've talked about it numerous times on the show, is when you've got to race across a desert, for instance. The desert itself is going to wear you out.
It's so hot out here.
You're going to get exhausted. Your muscles are going to hurt. Even for the heroes, that doesn't change. Using Constitution saving throws to either implement exhaustion or drain their hit dice. It doesn't have to be combat encounters. Maybe when they fail a survival check, they lose hit dice. It's showing that your body is being worn out over time. So when they finally do get to the big bad in the middle of the desert that they're chasing, this guy's got a big wagon. He's being pulled with fans being blushed in his, blown in his face, and grapes being tossed into his mouth by a slave. He's going to be in a different mindset and a different ready to fight versus your players.
Yeah, if you ever want to know how that feels, go ahead and put on some steel-toe boots and go to a sandy beach.
Oh.
And just try to walk around. That sucks. Sam says 5 hours of small fights in session. Party lynches the DM.
That's funny. Remember, as the DM, if you're following the escalation pacing, you want to motivate your characters from one encounter to the next without really giving them proper rests. We've talked about marching as a good example, an easy way to do that. When they're forced to march, maybe they're racing somebody to a location. Maybe they're chasing somebody, and if they get away, they can't complete their mission.
Yep.
Excuse me. Now.
Or there's a barrier shrinking around the arena that's forcing players to go inward.
Oh, there you go. So they can't escape, right?
Yep.
They're being pushed back in. This model works particularly well with strong horror games, for like Call of Cthulhu or even the I know you hate it, the Curse of Strahd campaign. Like, you can have the characters at the level ready to take on Strahd, but if they're missing their spell slots and their hit dice and they're weak as shit, it's going to have a completely different outcome.
It's not that I hate Ravenloft.
I know, you just did it so much.
As much as how long we were stuck in there.
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I missed anything.
This guy's beating us down with a fucking fishing pole.
Sam says this seems to be a good model for adverse weather.
Oh.
Yes, I would agree. Things that you can use this in, it's not just combat, and I want to make sure that's clear. This is something you can use that should be taxing the players that are non-combat encounters, And this is, in my opinion, this is when I mentioned I had a favorite. This is by far my favorite because I don't believe that every encounter should be characters at their best. Now, when we run one-shots, there's really not... It's not easy to do, but when you're running a campaign and you build up to this, that the escalations, when you're doing something like this, and you're taxing the players, the PCs don't always realize the seriousness of the trouble that they face until it's too late, right? They may think, oh, we're trudging through this. Oh, I lost a hit die here. I lost a con save here. Oh, I'm blinded a little bit, or I got maybe you get stuck poisoned and you don't know you're poisoned until you go to fight and it kicks in and you start to see double,
Oh, that old man that can be harassing us. Turns out he's a god.
The whole point is, the whole goal of escalation pacing is to build to a terrible climax in which the players themselves fear for their characters' lives, right? Unlike with our Spike one where they go in, they're not expecting to lose because they have everything. But during an escalation, they're so worn out, they're so burned, they will have an emotional reaction to the chance that their characters might actually die.
Huh. A Tyrannosaurus with golem arms. That looks dangerous.
No,
Freaking lasers for eyes.
I do want to make a point that
Laser
this is
raptors.
not about party wiping or TPKs.
Fuck, it's a laser raptor.
That was in our last episode, right? The giant T-Rex with the laser cannon?
I was actually talking about Kung Fury, but okay.
Kung Fury.
Oh.
It's such a stupid movie. I heard they're making the second one.
Yes, they are.
I can't wait.
So, once again, this isn't a tool to kill your players, but it should put them on the edge of their seats. That's the point. The climactic encounter should be big and scary, and it shouldn't be more than they can handle. But if they make the wrong decisions, it should cost them something.
Should reflect on that.
Yeah,
Yep.
because this is the time where their decisions are going to outweigh their raw power. And that's going to be really important. And as the DM, you want to make sure that you give them ample opportunity to make the right decisions, whether it's a tactical decision, like, for instance, they're fighting something and there's a chandelier hanging over it. Putting that chandelier there so, well, shit, I don't have any special attacks, but I bet if I chop this thing down, it might do something, You want to give them those situations. Barrels of oil,
Ah, right rope.
Yes. God, I love that movie.
What?
Robin Hood Men in Tights. He cuts the rope for the chandelier.
And it doesn't fall.
No. It did fall. It just wasn't the
Oh,
chandelier
it was the
above
wrong one, wasn't it?
Oh.
Yeah.
It was the chandelier that was above him.
But like I said, in this one, this is going to create more tension, more stress. And this is where their tactics should matter the most, I think. Sam says, I have found that my players love near-death experiences, and I find insurmountable odds are, I can't see, the only times it has occurred. Close to a TPK, but not quite. And I feel that's what the escalation pacing captures. Because people are going to come away like, oh my God, either we lost one person and almost the whole group died, and the one person's trick, idea, thought, spell, skill, whatever, made the difference in the win.
I'm totally picturing this as near-death experience. Like you're about, you see the light flash before your eyes, then your grandpappy sitting right there, looks down at you. You are a failure at life, just like I always knew you were. Shut up, grandpappy! I'm gonna go back there. I'm gonna kick his butt just to prove that you were wrong. You know the boss of me.
Go clean the piggies, boy.
So, once again, so those are the 3 paces that I was able to kind of find and come up with through my research. Is there anything you think I missed?
I think that those 3 types cover all your bases.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I was going for. Once again, the balance, as a reminder, is alternating between combat and role play and conversation. And Spike, you have a build up to one big event. The players are prepared for it. They're ready to go head to head with the big bad. They're fully vitalized. They're ready to engage, and you want to make that encounter memorable.
Ooh,
let them use all the tools in their toolkit to overcome the challenge. And then the escalation, where you're draining them of all their resources, so when they finally get to the big boss, they have to use their wits because they don't have access to all their toolkit. Do you guys have anything you'd like to add to that?
Oh, you may have think that you've exhausted my supplies, but no, you're taking on Macho Man Randy Savage.
You know what that reminds me of? You ever watch Tremors? The big guy with all the guns, he comes back. He kind of gets out. He looks at everyone. He says,
You okay, Bert?
I am completely out of ammo. That's never happened to me before. And he's got like a big tank truck full of ammunition and stuff.
Well, sheer luck that most of them are right in front of the truck, so I popped in 5th wheel and ran them all down.
So, how many guns do you have? I have learned that the answer to that question makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
So Sam has a really question. Is there a rule of thumb of how long paces are meant to take? How can you know a pacing chosen is taking too long or too short?
Feel the room.
Feel it out. You'll know when the time is right. So that's actually a very difficult question to answer outright because it's going to be different for every single person.
Every different group.
Yeah, and I know that's a really cop-out answer. For instance, with a group like Ian, if I got a bunch of Ians, Ian loves combat.
Oh, yeah.
So he doesn't mind spending 2, 3, 4 hours in successive combat session. So as long as I know, okay, each combat's going to take 45 minutes, we're going to do 4 hours. By the 3rd hour, I want them to be at the boss.
Hey, keep each other ring. Quick, I'm on the wood chipper.
That's an easy thing to plan out. What gets really hard is when you have a scenario that's all about role play, because if the players are engaged, stick with it. Whatever, if they're engaged and they're fully paying attention to what's going on, you want to keep that. So if you have to get rid of some of your encounters to cater to that one being a little longer, whether it's a role play or a puzzle, adjust it, throw it out, skip it, because that time is right. They're spending it, they're engaged, they're doing what they want. You don't want to cut that short because that's the whole point of the game, is to have a good time. In the same token, if they all look like they're not being engaged, call a couple checks, they solve the puzzle, move on.
Our resources, they're depleted. We have only 4 arrows left. Our swords, they are chipped. Our health is almost drained. And our spell slots are gone. But we'll take as many with us as we can. Oh my gosh, we're not taking any with us. They're not going down at all. We're not taking any with us at all.
That's funny.
Ever
Yeah.
seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil?
Yes.
That's why the wood chipper thing reminded me of.
Okay, people, let's focus. So, anyways, so yeah, I know that's a cop out. The answer, Sam. I hope that helps a little bit. Like I said, to me, it's all about in being engaged. If I'm doing let's talk about escalation for a second. If I've got this big boss planned and they're slogging through, tracking through the desert and making checks, and they're setting up camp, and I see they're not engaged, well, then they're going to get attacked by something. And then I'm just going to skip by whatever other traveling I had and just have them make some checks and dump some loss of resources on them based on how high their save is.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Oh, God. I see what you did there. And once then, that has to come from your, not necessarily experience from a DM, but your experience with your table. You have to feel it out. If they don't look engaged, cut it short and move on to something else. If they're fully engaged, throw out whatever you were going to have because that's obviously super good for them. So, all right. I think that'll do it for our pacing. I think that pacing is important. It's going to differ with every DM, but if you can figure out which, even if you're not if you're super happy with balanced, I recommend trying these other formats. Because they really can make a difference. At the very least, with the spike one, go and build they run into a village that regularly is attacked by a swarm of people, and they have to fortify the village.
There's a swarm.
Do something like that where they've got to really build up and try those different things. Same with escalation. And everyone does balance, so you don't really got to go experience with that. I think that'll do it for our main topic today.
All right. And we have a given next sponsor from Lore Smith.
Brandon, who's our winner today?
Our winner for Lawsmith is Demadibug. Demadibug.
The Mad Eye Bug.
The Mad Eye Bug.
It's D. Maddybug.
Demadibug. That sounds familiar.
The Mad
It
Bug.
should. I'm pretty sure you were married to that woman.
That's Marie's thing.
Hey.
Congratulations.
So here's our music. Dun 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 dun, dun. Fuck Windows. You messed up my shit. Congratulations, D. Bug. If you enjoy the adventure, please head on over to loresmith.com and leave a review. Let them know what you think, what you didn't. Let them know what you like, what you didn't like. Tell them Crit Academy sent you, and call me. Since you're not married to him no more. Wink, wink.
You're married.
Minor inconvenience.
Wow.
I love you, babe. I got you, babe. What does that say? That's a lot.
I got you,
One last
babe.
thing. If you had planned an escalation pace, and the players find a way to circumvent the main plot, how would you change the boss fight to be more of a spike pace? What kind of metric tweak?
Give him some minions.
That's from Sam.
Ooh, that's actually a really good one there, Sam. I'm gonna need a second to take all that in.
Give him some minions. Give him a stat boost. There are options.
Yeah, because if you've built for escalation, minions. That's a simple solution because if they're trying to circumvent the normal process of maybe I keep going back to the hiking through the desert, but let's say you plan for them to hike through the desert and they decide that they're gonna go and find a magical camel that can ride them across.
Or there's one time where my group, we were stuck in a castle, and we had to go down to get to the enemy. We're like, screw it. We just use stone shape and just made a hole in the floor and jumped down.
So when they undoubtedly screw your game up, your plans up like what he just did, what I would recommend is, okay, they got a mystical camel, and you're planning for them to get torn up and wasted going through the desert. Well, there's a couple different things that can happen. You can let them get halfway, and then something happens. They get mugged. They get jumped. Somebody gets bit by a poison snake, and now they've got a detour to find a way to heal the person if you don't already got magic that can do that. Or maybe they do that, and in their haste, they unanticipate how long it's going to take, and they don't bring enough resources,
Or
and
maybe
they start to drink.
Mystical camel goes into quicksand.
Oh, there you go.
And that's it.
Let the mystical camel get caught in trap.
Hell,
You can always add another encounter on top of whatever your plan is. When in doubt, lure them away for some reason. Offer them a deal. Have a creeper. Walk up to them and say, "Hey, Come here, got something good for you. You know, it's easy to toss that stuff in there to give yourself a little time.
The first one's free.
If your encounter is planned one way, don't be afraid to let it change. If it was a non-combat encounter and now they've done something, they hired the mystical camel. Okay, well, turns out the guy that sold it didn't own it. So now you got people chasing after them because they think they stole it, you know. So
You
they
got
do
goofed.
they do complete get across quicker, but now they got to deal with the guys chasing them. So maybe they get hammered from both sides now, the guys that want their camel back and the big boss, who knows. God, that's a good question.
Yeah.
I-
Moving on.
Sam's like, this discussion just makes me in awe of how godlike DMs are. Not all DMs can do it that swiftly, though, but there's nothing wrong with taking 10 minutes to figure it out.
Like I said, throw some minions or give them the stat boost. Whatever works.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm a big fan of altering, like, health and damage, so. Lower health, more damage.
Ooh, throw in an arena hazard that wasn't there before.
Yeah, there you go. Toss in an extra hazard. Entire environmental effects make a big difference. All right, so that'll do it for our main topic today. Yeah. Okay, so moving on to our honor tip. Wow, without music, it seems like we're missing something.
Yeah.
That is the wrong. No, stop, please don't. And there's some DMs that's easier for than others as well. So, moving on to our fourth and final segment, we have our honor tips and tricks, where we bring new and reusable material for both players and DMs. Has anybody read this character concept yet?
Yes.
Good. You're going to be able to give me some good responses then once I bring it up. So, our character concept for this episode, or our character concept, is the mournful agony. This character was out for revenge due to a betrayal. A strong bloodlust led them to wanting to destroy anyone that would protect his enemy. This character has successfully tracked down the enemy, found him in hiding, either in a village or in a cave. In this example, it's a cave. Instead of facing him head on, he pushes a barrel of leaky oil into the cave and sets it aflame. His enemy comes out running, just to be slain by his foe. Unbeknownst to the character, someone important to him has been taken captive and was in the cave at the time of the burning as a prisoner. So now, here you have a character that was so much out for revenge, had so much bloodlust, they couldn't see something that was right in front of them. Because they didn't care who they hurt or who they don't care how they did it or who they hurt in the process. They were going to do whatever they had to. The problem is now they've accidentally taken the life of a captive,
Sorry, Mom.
and it's somebody important to them. Could be a spouse, could be a child, could be a mother. And I think this can make for a very interesting character, because how is that going to affect your play? Are you going to be more methodical when you decide to fight in case of an accident? Taking out somebody. I failed to see the humor.
No, this whole thing made me think of we were playing GURPS one time, and we were sent by a shepherd to rescue his herd. And the wizard saw the stronghold where the bandits were hold, and just threw a fireball on top of the keep. We climbed up there. We saw a bunch of roasted sheep, and when we were shell-shocked, one.
Sam says, my players feel very successful when I call an impromptu break to figure out how to change in the plot, and they should. And it's cool that they're not upset with you by it, because that means you're evolving the world at their decisions. Because I'm kind of derailing from the whole thing I'm supposed to be talking here, but his question is really cool. Being able to for them to have the way you're handling that means they know they're having a direct impact in everything that's going on. So that is really cool, and I feel like that's probably why they feel a little bit of pride or happiness. But anyways, what do you think about this character, Brandon?
I think it's cold.
Well, it's hot. It's set aflame.
I like it.
You smartass.
How would you play a character like this? How would you bring that across? Because this isn't something the other players are going to know unless you outright tell
I think
them.
a character like this would be extremely careful regardless of what they're doing.
Not necessarily.
You want to expand on that?
Like, look at Liam Neeson from Taken.
Oh, yeah. That's a good example. Except for he didn't kill his own daughter, did he?
No, but he did shoot his friend.
Yeah, but he didn't mind doing that. That's different, isn't it? He knew what he was doing. In this case, the hero, the character doesn't know. They're not aware that they just killed their wife.
I was more referring to the fact that they don't care who they hurt to get what they want.
Ah,
who they
okay,
want.
okay. I got you.
There's an old story that's kind of like this, called The Sniper.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever read that one?
No, I haven't.
No?
You gonna tell us or?
Yeah, I'm checking levels. Yeah, that's it's a sniper that's on top of a building, and he gets shot at by another sniper across the street.
Oh, I heard this one.
Yeah, and they spent hours playing mind games with each other until the sniper finally did the old trick where he used his helmet to draw the other sniper's attention. It's like, okay, I'm over here. Saw the flash, shot him, and when he went across the street and went on top of the building, he realized it was his brother because they were fighting on two sides of a different war.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think a character like this, I feel like would really have to portray the remorse that he has for the lives of those that are innocent. And I think that would come across really well in the role play of a group of like murder hobos, for instance, where they just go in and kill everything. They're going to be, I would think this character would be more thought out in, hey, when we go into this area, not everyone in here is bad. And so we need to be careful not to accidentally, hey, you wizard that's throwing fireballs, do it again, I'm going to gut you. Because obviously you don't care, you're evil and you don't care about what happens to innocents.
Hey, what's the fireball? We smell gas in this confined space.
I think this would be most effective with a like a soldier background or something. I think, or maybe a sailor. Maybe he sunk a ship and his family drowned.
Whoops.
You know, chasing that red-coated pirate. Anyways, any other comments on this? What you would add to it, maybe, to make it a more interesting character concept? Because this gives a lot of opportunity. Because there's not like this guy can go out and get revenge. He done already killed the guy responsible, right?
Yeah.
What if in the aftermath he comes in and finds out that he killed his mother or whatever, but he finds a young child was hiding in debris, and the child was the child of the man he just killed.
Oh, snap.
So now he has to take responsibility for this kid.
That's interesting. I like that.
Good work, Wesley. Sleep well. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, that'll do it for our character concept, the Mournful Agony. Our monster variant comes. Does somebody else want to take this?
I do.
I do magic items.
Okay, you want it? Our magic.
Our master variant today is the Runt of the Runts. And this was.
Pull your mic down a little bit. Good, thank you.
And this was given to us by PJ Sherrill. The origin of this is the Gazer from Volo's Guide. Okay.
The Gazer has been found.
No. Hell no.
But it fits!
No.
This gazer has become fed up.
No. That's too high pitched, even for me.
Oh.
Gotta try something else. Sorry, I'm not trying to rain on your parade.
Yes, you are.
Try again.
This Gazer has become fed up with all the other beholders laughing and taunting him. So he has looked for a way to become better than his tormentors. He found the answer in the Great Old One. He has 4 levels into Warlock, which has chosen the Eldritch Invocation, Devil's Sight, and Eyes of the Runekeeper.
Oh, that's good.
New features include innate spellcasting, with spellcasting DC is 12 and plus 4 to hit, and be sure to change it as needed if you suppose for different difficulties. 30 feet of telepathy, and 2 second level spell slots. Cantrips can certainly include Chill Touch, Eldritch Blast, because if you're a Warlock, you better take Eldritch Blast, and Mage Hand. And your spell choices are Armor of Agathis, Arms is Hadar, Charms Person, with your second being Crowns of Madness and Misty Step.
Beholder with Misty Step. That's funny. Sorry. There's still a little bit more there.
Oh yes, and they're chosen the Pact of the Blade, where they can use to create a pact weapon in its telekinetic ray, and is proficient with it while it wields it. In Devil's Sight, that invocation lets them see through magic and non-magical darkness up to 120 feet. And the Eyes of the Runekeeper, they can read all writing, limited language.
Okay, so I think what... So this is actually the second monster variant we've had that's had levels into Warlock. Do you guys remember what the first one was?
No.
I can't recall.
It was a Mimic.
Ah,
Right. So what I think is interesting is where he's going with the Blade Pact. So the Blade Pact allows you to use any sort of weapon, right? You can summon a weapon, or you can summon a special kind of weapon. I'm going to put this in reference. The telekinetic ray has a very specific line in it called, "The gazer can exert fine control on objects with its ray, such as manipulating a simple tool or opening a container." So what I'm envisioning is a tiny little tiny floating eyeball with tentacles that has a floating axe or sword floating around it that it's using one of its little eyes to manipulate and cut you up.
screw you. I'm picturing the blade from Krull.
Okay. I think that's where it's going with this, where instead of him carrying a weapon, he's using his telekinetic ray to kind of hold this weapon floating around him and sweeping around, cleaving people in half.
Sweep the leg.
Now, I noticed in the stat block, the Gazer doesn't have really anything for strength, but it has like a +3 to dex. So I can see it using its telekinetic ray to shoot, like, spears or daggers out of, left and right and shooting them across the way at people.
Or really small rocks.
Ooh, Sam makes a good point. Could use the spiritual weapon spell instead. That would actually be pretty good too, I think.
You could.
But I love the idea that it could use its telekinetic blast, which is usually used to move enemies, to fling a magical weapon at all its opponents and do weapon damage. I think that's just cute because these things are like what are they, like 8 inches in diameter or something? They're really tiny, like that,
They're not big.
but they're little floating eyeballs with tentacles, and they got the big giant, sword, short sword swinging around, cutting people up from a flavor standpoint. That just sounds like so much fun. And the damn thing can Misty Step, so it can just appear behind you with a blade in your back, right, Brandon?
Yeah. I just think of this little spherical monster just spinning at incredible speeds. And now you just got this flying buzzsaw flying through the air.
Oh, yes, a
And what
buzzsaw.
are you going to do?
I mean, I think that it's awesome, and of course, you get to combine it with other stuff like Crown of Madness and having Mage Hand for flavor. I could totally just see the Mage Hand carrying the weapon, something like that. That'd be more of a flavor thing. But its Eldritch Blast could become like a low level destruction wave that the bigger beholders have, I really like this idea. I think it's really cool, and it's a very nice little change to a monster. This monster is only like a half rating, so it's not hard. It's not super strong, but giving it a little extra oomph with its with a blade or some sort of weapon, with its telekinetic eye. Once again, I just see it like shooting the same weapon and then can it summon them back? No, I don't think so.
That's the Eldritch Knight.
No, but it could do it with its telekinetic blast, so you could just say that it's coming back and forth between the range of its telekinetic blast.
Sam, a Beyblade beholder. Let it rip.
Oh, that's funny. So PJ, thank you so much for listening, and thank you for submitting the what did he call it? The runt of the runts. It's an awesome monster variant. Thank you. Our encounter of the podcast is the Falling Pillars. Now, this is a little bit different style than we normally do our encounters, but I think it's okay. This encounter takes place in a great hall or a cave, whatever, a castle area, whatever floats your boat. It doesn't really matter where the location. What's important is that there's vast columns that run from the floor to the ceiling. In this encounter, the enemy can be any big villain, monster villain, whatever. Take your pick, whatever makes you happy. Let's say Cyclops for the purposes of this one, who is ideally built for strength. Cyclops is a good one, right? Built for strength. The
You're
goal.
the X-Men to the ground, you dick.
You're gonna give either a lair action or a what is the other action?
Legendary.
Legendary. I would say a lair action. So you're gonna give a lair action where this creature runs and knocks over the pillars, and they begin tumbling over. So now, real quick off the tips, what are the side effects of him throwing a giant pillar at you?
You have a big freaking rock flying at you.
That would be one damage, right? What else?
Stability of the building.
That's a big one, right? If he does it enough times, the building's going to come crashing down. As well as creating a dynamic event because there's now new terrain, as well as cover is everywhere now. There's lots and lots of cover. The point of this entire encounter is to put the heroes in a situation where if the battle goes on for too long, the whole area comes crashing down on top of them. So they're forced into a couple different things, right? Either try to move the enemy to a different location, run away outright, which the enemy may or may not allow them to do, maybe getting a character who grapples a lot, and trying to crush them with these new terrain features. And you can do it where, since it's a column, if it's just going from the ceiling to the floor, you could have debris that just falls every round and does damage. So this could be a really good one-person boss fight, I think, right?
I'm gonna rip you in half now.
You're going to be a lot closer to your mic, bro.
I'm gonna rip you in half now.
Oh my god, I'm such a big fan.
And something that I've done, and I think you were in the game that I did this. I don't know if both of you were, but I know Ian was. Where I've, for flavor purposes, I've had the giants reach out and grab stalagmites and rip them off and use them as clubs.
Yep.
So I can once again see the same thing, reflavoring this pillar as like a maul, and then as he's knocking them down, he's beating people up with them, and then using them to knock down other pillars. So in the end, the players are stuck in a situation where you can set as the DM so many rounds that the area is coming down, crashing down, period, on round 7. So either they need to figure it out before then and get out, or they need to move, like I said, move the boss fight to another area. And then what happens when they do that? If it's a major keep, is it going to collapse everything underneath it as well, or is it going to be just the one room? And what happens to everyone if it's in a keep that's up above you? Or if you're in a cave, does the whole cave begin to collapse and now the whole mountain area around it is changing shape? You know, all those things make for interesting storytelling, I think. What do you guys think?
I've actually played in similar situations to that, and yeah, it definitely can create some tension among the players, which is definitely something you want.
Especially if somebody's tied to one of the pillars.
Or when you're in a temple that is stuck in flex in time. And each time the ability takes damage, you switch to a different period of time.
Oh, that would be cool.
That may have been in feng shui.
That's awesome.
You can make the encounter a little more difficult by when his pillars fall down, as big dude grabs it. Now he's got this long ass pole arm, and now he's gonna be really hard to get close to him.
There you go. Yeah, you can give him like an impromptu sentinel feat, right? Or what? No, what's the polearm mastery and sentinel feat combination?
That's a lethal combo too.
Yeah, I know, it'd be deadly. That would be awesome. He's swinging a pillar at you, and every time you try to get close, he hits you with it, and it stops you in your tracks. Because that's what would happen, right?
Yep.
You could even give like the pillars like a pushback effect or something. Isn't there a there's a fighter feature that does that, right?
Yeah.
One of the martial what are they called?
Maneuvers?
Yeah, one of the maneuvers. So
Or you could take even more debris and... Thank you. You could take even more of the debris, throw it at other pillars, so that they come crashing down if the player characters are too far away for them to engage.
ooh, so if they're trying to hide too much, just say F it and use his round to speed up the collapsing tunnel.
Ugh.
Or speed up the collapsing keep. That's awesome. I wouldn't have ever thought of that. So, hey, I can't reach him because they're hiding from me. Well, I'll just take this big pillar and hit out this other pillar. Because if he's a big, strong guy, he's likely thinking he can survive his own. Or maybe he's got a secret out of the tunnel. But anyways, that sounded like a really fun encounter that I was writing the other day. So I was like, let's do this. So that'll do it for our encounter on the podcast, The Falling Pillars. Brandon.
Yes.
No school like the old school.
No school like the old school.
So this is really important that the listener submitted this and that it's actually an item from an older edition.
Right. Right. Doesn't say which edition.
No, it doesn't. And honestly, I don't know.
Ah. This week's magic items comes from listener Stan J. It comes from an old school DMG, but we're not sure which edition it is.
No, I'm not. He didn't say, so I don't know.
He didn't say. We don't know. It is a cursed item. This magic ring is cursed so as to make its wearer unable to agree with any idea or statement or action. Once put on, the ring can be removed only after a remove curse spell is cast upon the individual wearing it. Because of the curse, the wearer will resist any attempts to cast such a spell. Furthermore, the contrariness ring will have one of the following additional magic properties. Roll a D100. Roll a D100. Or percentile die. 1 through 20. Flying spell. 1 charge per day. 21 through 40. Invisibility. 1 charge per day. 41 through 60. Levitation. 3 charges per day. 61 through 70. Shocking grasp. At will cantrip. 71 through 80. Counterspell at its lowest level. 1 charge per day. 81 to 100. Strength becomes 20. 1 per day for 1 minute.
Read the note.
There's a note on the next page I didn't see.
Beyblade Beholder.
Note that contrariness can never be removed from the ring. The wearer will use his or her own powers, plus those of the ring, to retain it on his or her finger. The wearer of the ring will never damage him or herself. If, for example, other characters suggest that the wearer should make certain that attacks upon him or her are well defended against, or that he or she should not strike his or her own head. His or her own head. Camden, thank you. The ring wearer will agree, possibly attacking or striking at the speaker's head, because obviously the result must be contrary in this case.
So Ian, what do you think about this item?
This can be hilarious.
Well, yeah, because the person's basically made to disagree with everybody. Your coat is blue. No, it's not. It's green. Or it's violet. It's purple. That guy's tall. No, he's not. He's short. I've seen bigger.
No, I will not endanger myself. But my body is perfect. And will not do to have any blemish or scar.
I think this is great just because you've got some groups that already struggle to come up to a consensus on what to do. But you got the one asshole that's always like, we all should go left. We agree. No, we should go right. Why? Because the ring told me to tell you so. And now I would say it would be something that they're really aware of. Do you think?
Yes and no. But they may not care.
Right, like, yes, I'm going to suggest that we go right. Well, here's all the reason we should go left. Well, here's all the reason we should go right. Or maybe we should attack the enemy tonight. I think we should postpone that to a week from tomorrow. Right?
We should do it tomorrow.
I do like that it's one of the... I don't see very many items like this where when you get it, you roll to determine its effect. Like, that's it. That becomes the property. So when you decide to use this, what did they call it? I can't even say that word.
The contrariness ring.
Yeah, the contrariness ring. And then you pick one of those items. So it's got a lot of different effects. So if you get more than one, I guess. Hopefully you don't have 2 of them in your group.
Damn it, Tate. Is the dress black or gold? Is it Laurel or Yanni?
Sam says the Gandalf.
And
the
the three trolls
Oh,
that
that
come
must be like the
Hobbit.
The Hobbit.
The
Okay.
Hobbit.
Yeah, you don't want them. They're infested.
I don't remember
Is
that
it-
encounter at all.
You don't?
They were arguing. Yeah, the trolls were arguing how to cook the dwarves,
Oh, okay.
and Gandalf kept imitating their voices. It's like, no, we should do it this way.
Oh, I gotcha. I think this would be really fun, especially in mundane times. Like, maybe we should get some steak for dinner. No, we should eat vegetables.
Actually, I think my favorite one of that was the show Justice League Action. They occasionally release shorts online,
Mm-hmm.
and one of them was the Joker and the Trickster kidnaps Mark Hamill. and he plays them against each other by imitating their voices.
That's funny.
Why do you keep disagreeing with me? It's the ring. I can't help it.
I think this
You
would be.
don't owe me 50 gold.
I owe you 49. Or 2.
That's
10 silver.
no loopholes.
Once again, I like stuff that creates intra-party conflict. That's the technical pronunciation of that, apparently. It's not inter-party conflict, it's intra-party conflict. I had forgotten about that until I was listening back through all of Gabe's episodes.
I like how our player tip is just straight. Don't be a dick.
There's no player tip either? Holy fuck, Justin. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
God, you guys suck. You know, you can look at the...
I tried
that'll-
looking for it and I couldn't find it.
That'll do it for our magic item. Thank you, listener Stan J, for submitting the contrariness ring. God, I hate that name.
On
The ring
contrariness.
Of contrariness.
Brandon, do you want to take the Dungeon Master tip there?
Holy shit.
Oh, we should role play out this example though, and then I'm gonna quickly find a player tip because I know I got some in my bag here.
And this week's Dungeon Master tip is building on the past. Great encounters build on information the PCs already have from previous encounters. You can create better encounters by foreshadowing. What is it? Come in the... What the fuck?
I don't know. Figure out what it says. I'm busy.
You can create better encounters by foreshadowing to determine what it is that comes in the future. Introducing information about an encounter ahead of time can help to build anticipation or apprehension. Here's an example.
Okay. Do you guys want to role play that out?
Yes.
If the heroes know the epic battle...
Let's say, for example, if the heroes know the epic battle in the Lizardfolk Phil adventure features a brutal and savage lizardman leader and his violent god drakes. Lizardman in previous encounters could call on him by name and speak fearfully of the Lizardman. When the Lizardman suggests running away from the hero's onslaught, another... For example...
Sorry, did I mess it up?
Yeah. For example... Ah, man, he's adventurous and quite dangerous. We should probably retreat.
No. Are you mad?
Yes.
Solgos will feed us to his pets if we flee.
Crap.
Stuff like this can lay the groundwork for future encounters. It's better when it's in,
Just
What's that called?
as you guys are listening to them, to remember, I may not be able to stay on topic, but at least my delivery is not terrible when I can remember it. No, you guys need to take the lead on that and talk while I gotta find
my delivery is amazing.
I found one.
So yeah,
Sweet.
foreshadowing something's going to come in the future could really spark an interest with the group.
Or, as I said before, though, I used as an example also a webcomic that pokes fun at D&D games. And it showed that the DM was going to do just a generic random encounter of a bugbear. But then the players were like, wait a second, isn't this near the cave where we fought that dragon last year? And when we killed it, it's more vengeance against us in death? And the DM's like, encounters now a Draco Lich.
Just breaks out from this cave ceiling. Surprise, motherfucker!
With fries, motherfucker.
Halt eyes.
Damn it. He took it, and I don't know.
Except he failed to finish it.
I chose not to.
Hot
That's a
eyes,
failure.
motherfucker. Mother humper.
Motherfracker.
So I totally. So what was our DM tip?
Who the frack jerked off my fracking coffee?
And that was today's DM
No,
tip.
I got a comment I'd like to add to that. Not only does this give you a good opportunity to plant seeds for the future, but it also can poke curiosity for the players, because little foreshadowings like this of talking about, in this case, what is it, a lizard man?
Yep.
And Salgas, so how crazy he is, that may be enough for them to try to want to avoid that encounter, or it could be enough to draw them into a counter and become a potential hook. If you start planning stuff enough ahead, say in foreshadowing this big burly the Mad Wizard, that's a common one, right? What about the Mad Bard, right? the Mad Bard who you hear about his songs, these songs that entrance and force people to commit suicide or something like that. Your players might start to hear more and more about that and decide, you know what? I'm not messing with that shit. We're going to go the other direction.
Oh, you guys are going north? That's old man Seamus's farm. What's wrong with that? He's crazy.
You know what? Let's go west a while
is
first.
he dangerous crazy or funny crazy?
Just crazy.
Yeah, the party had to kind of escort him back to base. And he took care of it. Yes, he was crazy. Hey guys, look, they found me a honeycomb! Oh, that's nice, Fergus. I'll tell you what, who was not happy about those beers I took it from. What?
Edward says, I think Camden may quit after this show. Damn it.
Scully gave him a challenge.
He's been doing really great work, by the way. So that'll do it for our DM tip, building on the past.
Viciously mock party members to kill themselves.
Becoming like a party suicide.
Sam said that. That's funny.
So
I'm totally picturing now that one giant stuffed animal that became Ant-Man in Supernatural, that was suicidal, but because of the stuffed bear couldn't die.
that's a good one. I like that. That was a really good episode. So our player tip of the podcast is
Don't be a dick.
And you can avoid dickitude by getting paid for your services. Now, if there's one thing that happens a lot in D&D, it's that players craft stuff. Players create things. Players use their skill sets to do stuff. Now, when I say get paid for your service, I don't mean the be the bad cleric that doesn't want to heal nobody without being compensated. But I'm talking like the wizard who enchants something, or the druid who's an herbalist. You can, as a player, actually write real receipts for the services you provide and then give them to the other players as a reminder that they owe you some money. Hey, Ian, that potion I lent you, that is actually 100 gold pieces. So when you get a chance, make sure you pay me for that, because it is not easy to make that stuff.
What, you think I just gave you that axe? That is fine dwarven craft for hand forged by the skills passed down from my ancestors. You owe me 50 gold for that.
Except
you pay me the gold.
so now I'm not
double the resources.
I'm not talking about like becoming a hired gun or hired sword or whatever, but in the situation where a player has to put in their own resources to create stuff, whether it's I'm crafting a magical sword. Some people would say, well, I'm going to give it to you because it'll help the party, but I would like some sort of compensation for it because money is valuable, right? Whether it's your compensation is in gold or in a favor. To me, a favor sounds better, right?
What could possibly go wrong?
An IOU, right? I give you, it's like, you know what? I crafted this blade for you, and I think it would work well for you. But, of course, there's going to be a cost attached to it. An IOU. At any time, this is yours, but at any time, I'm going to collect, and you owe me. So,
You're sitting in a dungeon, and you just hear around the corner, you're like, hey, remember that IOU? Could you check out what that was?
But I just think the idea of, and I found this online somewhere on like Twitter or somewhere where some lady was writing actual like receipts for the jobs that she did to her players as a reminder because she offered it at a cheaper discount than the service they could get other places, but still wanted to be compensated for it. And I think that's perfectly fair. And I think that's fun. Now, obviously, don't get carried away because people will fucking hate your guts. Because sometimes that does happen, right? People can get over carried away with that sort of stuff, especially with like the healing. Like, I'll heal you, but it'll cost you.
Oh, you want to figure out how to get to the castle where the princess is located? There's a map for that for a price.
Oh, there you go. So there's a good example. There's one of the backgrounds allows you to remember all
land features.
Yes.
Yeah. That
So being a map maker would be invaluable.
A cartographer.
And you could say, well, you can buy it from this guy, but I can give you an exact duplicate, a very perfect copy for a little bit more.
Oh, you need to find the swamp? There's a map for that.
What would be better is if you started trying to sell the stuff to the NPCs and then writing tickets to your DM. And once again, collecting in services.
Sam says
Doesn't
that,
have to be gold.
Justin's immune to being mocked. Our attempts have proven that every episode.
That's true. I if you must know, Sam, I go home and cry every night after a show.
Aww.
I go in, I'm not even in the mood for sex half the time because I just want to go to bed and cry in my pillow.
Are you okay, honey? No, no one loves me.
You don't know the stuff that they say.
Your tater's a jerk. And you just know this is giving him a hard.
Yeah. And it's
Like suffer. Yeah.
do you guys have any
Excellent.
Oh, I cannot tell you that I work with Mr. Burns. I work with a guy that he's that character. He does everything but the excellent part, the finger thing.
Ahoy, ahoy.
Do you have any other comment? Do you guys have any other comments to something like this as a player or a DM that you would enhance this? I mean, can't get much more enhanced, I guess, than a physical receipt.
Ahoy, ahoy.
No. And I do want to put clarification. If you think this is somebody taking advantage of it, think about it. If you're buying a potion, you're going to have to buy a potion anyway. Now, they're not saying I'm going to withhold it from you. Here's a potion. You're going to die. But you do owe me at some point. In the way gold split, it shouldn't be that big of a deal. So have fun with it. If you're in a group with a bunch of tightwads, a bunch of cockbites who get over upset and butthurt about it, then probably don't do it. But it's a game, people. Grow up. That'll do it for a player tip of the podcast. Don't be a dick. You avoid dickitude by getting paid for your service.
Get paid.
I've had that thing forever.
What thing?
This player tip I've had forever.
Tate, thanks for just calling me a jerk. I was expecting a lot worse, and I earned it.
Oh God, our listeners are more entertaining than
A
us.
lot worse, you say.
All right, well that'll do it for our show. Before we close out, we have one more gift to give away. Compliments of Jeff Stevens. Brandon, who's our winner today?
Our winner of Jeff Stevens' prize is Scringe.sg. When it comes crashing down and oh my God.
You know, Justin.
I swear to God.
Get. You know, Justin.
Dun,
Justin.
dun,
Taylor
dun,
likes to pretend
dun,
that you get a hard on when you insult us, but we all know you're really a eunuch.
Jump out it! Jump out it! Don't jump out it! My secrets.
I call him a eunuch.
I thought you meant me.
No.
Oh. Anyway. I think there'll be a new link, right? You're gonna go through Twitch.
Tweet there.
So congratulations, sgringe.sg. If you enjoy the adventure, please head on over to DM's Guild and leave Jeff Stevens a review. Tell him what you liked, tell him what you didn't like, and let him know that Crit Academy sent you. So, please join us. Please join us on our next episode. We'll hear feedback from you, our heroes. We will be discussing plot twists.
What a twist.
Bum bum bum.
We're going to M. Night Shyamalan the shit.
You mean I'm not going to M. Night shit upon my show, dude. No, not going to happen.
What if it turns out they were all already dead?
Been done. Yes, we're going to be doing plot twists, and I'm super excited for this. I got a really nice article I found, and I don't remember it, so I'm not going to mention it specifically, but we'll make sure to talk about it on the next episode. We're going to talk probably about 10 or 15 different plot twists that you can take with you on your next adventure.
And at this point, our amnesic hero discovers that he's actually Hitler.
Is that supposed to be bad?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we hope. Actually, do you want to take you guys want to handle the closeout here?
If you have any feedback on Earth tips and tricks or topics you would like to discuss, please send them to us. You can email them to us at critacademy@gmail.com or find us on Twitter and Facebook at Crit Academy.
We hope that you've enjoyed your experience here at the Crit Academy. If you did, you can help others find the show by leaving a, hopefully, 5-star review on iTunes or your platform of choice. Or you can simply send us a message telling us how much you enjoyed our show.
Also, be sure to give us a like and a share.
So make sure to subscribe to our show at critacademy.com so we can help you on your future adventures, as well as be entered to win cool prizes each and every week. You will find you also find links to our fellowship members there. We got an awesome crew on our fellowship. Make sure you check out Interparty Conflict. Their entire show is a lot like our Let's Talk About Blank segment, where they answer questions to help you get the best tabletop experience possible. Also, check out D&D Character Lab. Every week, they build very thoroughly thought out, crazy characters, and then argue their validity like a couple of pro bards. And yeah, check them out. Those guys are awesome. Of course, you can find our sponsors links there as well. There is a banner on our page now for DM's Guild. We have a partnership with them. So if you click the banner and follow that to DM's Guild and purchase something, we will get a very, very, very small cut of that.
It all adds up eventually.
If you haven't, also pick up Monsters of the Guild book. It's amazing. Great supplement. The last thing I want to do is say check out our YouTube channel. Just Google Crit Academy. You'll find us. Give us a like and a follow and a subscribe and all that jazz.
Subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Just hit it. Don't break your monitor. We are not held accountable for that.
So yeah, awesome. That is our show for today. I am your host, Justin.
I'm your co-host, Brandon.
I'm your co-host, Ian. Thanks for listening.
Keep your blades sharp and spells prepared, heroes. All right, so real quick, that was the end of the show, but I do have a couple questions for our listeners really quick, our awesome patrons. We are looking to adding some stuff to the to our patron page, some different additional bonus content, and we would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Some of the stuff we brainstormed earlier was reading special iconic scenes from iconic shows in stupid and crazy voices. Is that something as patrons you guys would be interested in seeing?
Quick. On 3, I want you to name your favorite dinosaur. 1, 2, 3.
Velociraptor.
What?
I just said rapper too. I didn't know we were going to go.
I don't know where that's going. Is that from something?
Step
Yes,
Brothers.
this is Step Brothers.
I haven't seen Step
Did we just
Brothers.
become friends? Yep. You want to go practice karate in the garage? Yup.
That's funny. I don't know. Just some stuff we were talking about.
Did you
Go
go over
over
the
this.
news from the Pal Show?
Where is that notebook? It's over there.
No,
That's a no.
it's still sitting there. I'm sorry. I forgot. There's
Fail.
ideas on there though.
Fail.
We should probably do something about that.
Yeah.
So
trying to bring in more stuff here.
yeah, we're just trying to think of better rewards and you know more bang for your buck, so to speak.
Giggity.
Hoorah! All right. Until next time, heroes. May the force be with you.
I'll be on in a few.
For me to poop on. All right, guys. Are you ready to go? Are you ready? I'm ready. I got to go to bed.
So do I.
How about
Now,
hosting a disco bingo once a quarter? Like get disco balls, shiny disco balls. That would be cool.
Yeah, I'm totally.
Sam's like, I'm not sure about the voiceover scenes. That's probably because we suck at voiceovers.
That's what makes it great.
Kind of what I was hoping. At the very least, I want to do one just 'cause I think it'd be fun. We could do like a scene from like Robin Hood Men in Tights.
We're men.
We're men in tights. We roam around the woods looking for fights.
That's right.
We may look like pansies, but don't mess with us or else we'll put out your lights. Anyway. Gotta make it a cosplay. No. All right, well, we'll see you
Yes.
guys later. No, we're not doing that.
I would love to do that.
All right, say goodbye.
Bye.
See you guys later.